I'm gonna get started, obviously, with dessert, because it is getting close to Valentine's, so we need a little chocolate. How do we feel?
Yes, we do.
Yes. I know we picture that like heart-shaped box of chocolate that I don't actually think, I think you're buying it for the box, not the chocolate.
Yeah, it's usually pretty.
It's a little, it's not the best, but we are gonna do something really, really delicious that kind of combines everything I could ever want to eat. We are making chocolate cherry cheesecake sandwich cookies.
Come on.
Another reason I love this is because, I don't know about you, but Valentine's Day to me, sure, you maybe make a nice romantic dinner at home, maybe you go out on a date, whatever. But the thing about it is I love bringing in treats to work, treats to my friends. So something that's shareable, like a cookie, what a dream.
It's the best.
It's
So
the best.
good.
Yeah.
And also a sandwich cookie, if you think about it, you get 2 cookies for the price of 1.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we love that.
That's the key. Okay, so we're gonna get started on the dough for these cookies, or that cookie batter. So I've got in my stand mixer here, I've got 1.5 cups of room temperature unsalted butter. If you have salted butter, feel free. I'm actually gonna ask you guys, what do we feel? If you're baking, do you do room temp salted or unsalted butter?
I always just have salted,
Yeah.
and I don't think to the average person they can tell that much.
Yes.
So
No,
how
it's
about you
true.
use?
Yeah.
I like that little extra hit of salt.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
I know.
I
We're all salty over
Yeah,
here.
salty.
Okay,
Yeah.
I feel like I also am, but I always say unsalted because that's what everybody
That's
says.
what the bakers will have
Yes.
you say.
I was gonna say,
right?
Mary Berg, you are not a follower. Do not do this. What is happening? So listen, do whatever butter you got.
There you
Megan.
go.
You
Yeah.
just need a cup and a half. Now into there, I've creamed that up a little bit. I'm gonna go in with my sugar. So the first thing I need is 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. Whether you got light or dark, feel free to use whichever. Obviously, dark brown sugar has more molasses in it and more of that molassesy flavor. I'm using light brown sugar today. But 3/4 of a cup is what you need. That's gonna give you a little bit of a chew to these cookies. But I like a little crisp when I'm thinking of a sandwich cookie.
Yep.
Kind of like those classic ones, the black and white cookies you like so
Yeah,
much.
we know, Mary.
Those ones. So I like that little crisp. So for that, I need 1/2 cup of granulated sugar.
Yeah.
That's gonna give you again, that crispy texture. Absolutely beautiful. So I'm gonna give that a bit of a cream together. And then while that's coming together and getting a little bit light and fluffy, we're gonna chat the eggs. Now, if I was making like a classic chocolate chip cookie, I would throw a whole egg in here. But again, I'm looking for kind of like wafery texture and consistency. So I'm just gonna go in with an egg white.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
The egg yolk also adds sometimes a little bit of lift, like it puffs up a bit more. I'm not looking for that. I want like a nice solid little crisp cookie. So I'm gonna just divide up this egg. Save that yolk for tomorrow's scramble, and you're gonna be like, Mary Berg, this is so delicious and rich.
Totally.
So it's almost like a hollandaise scramble when you add a couple extra yolks, which is always good. All right, so I've got 1 egg white right there. And I'm gonna go into this mixture. Now already it's looking pretty good, but what I would do is I'd actually keep beating this a little bit more. That's gonna work in some air, which again, gives you a really nice texture. I am gonna scrape the bowl down though, because anytime you're mixing, especially in a stand mixer, everything kind of just like sticks to the outside, almost like, I don't know about you, but I was definitely like a pal in high school, and if you went to a dance, I was always near the wall.
That was me too.
I was gonna say, I was like, no, cool. So I'm just gonna scrape down the sides of this bowl just to get everything kind of nicely incorporated. I'm gonna go in with that egg white. So pop that in. And then to season that up, I'm going in with some vanilla extract. Now this doesn't really make it taste vanilla-y, but it does help the chocolate taste more like chocolate.
Yeah, wraps up the flavor.
Yeah, it's like your chocolate's best pal.
Exactly.
Palentine's.
There you go.
1 teaspoon of that vanilla, guys.
Oh, that's a big teaspoon,
Listen,
Mary.
Bajaya, I measure with my heart when it comes to vanilla
You do.
and herbs.
You go, girl.
Other things like an almond extract, maybe use
Yeah,
the
right.
actual
Just a
spoon
little,
because it is a little punchy. All right, I'm gonna beat that together just until it comes together. It does look a little bit sloppy at first, but it'll come together. So while that's doing its thing, we're gonna get to work on the dry ingredients. So for the dry ingredients, I'm going to ask you to sift. And I hate sifting. It stinks. How do we feel about sifting?
I am all about the sifting. I kind of find it like a zen moment in the kitchen while you're
Okay.
baking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of like a you time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I like that. Anybody else?
I'd skip it if I could.
Okay.
Let's be honest.
Yes.
But sometimes I go in with if it's in the sieve, I'll go in with a whisk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel
that's
like
a
that
fun
makes it go
motion.
faster.
Or
Yeah.
just whisk it in the bowl
Yeah.
as well. That's
Yeah.
something I sometimes do. Yeah.
So we are using cocoa in this to get that chocolatiness, and cocoa does have lumps in it because there is a fat content in there. So we do need to sift it. If you are lucky like me and have had for a while your Nana's sifter, the like.
Oh, I love those.
You know what I love that?
Why?
It's a 2-for-1. You get your grip strength in.
Yes!
And you get to sift your
Yes, you
ingredients.
do. strength right there. Now, I've got that flour sifted in, but I'm gonna go in also with a cup of cocoa powder. That's 2 cups of all-purpose, going in with 1 cup of cocoa. So these are really nice and rich cookies. Oh, now the air tastes like chocolate too.
Yeah.
What a delight. Add that right on in. And then I'm gonna go in with just a little bit of salt. I'm using kosher salt because that's pretty much always what I have on hand. But I don't sift that because that won't go through the fine mesh. So just pop that in the bottom. And then for a little bit of lift, not too much, just about a half a teaspoon of baking powder. That's gonna give you a little bit of a puff, but not too much. Gives you a nice tender cookie, but again, keeps it kind of on the wafery side. So we're gonna go in with that, give that a sift together, and then just run that through. You're gonna end up with some clumps, so just you wanna press those through. This is where Vijaya would use a whisk, which honestly would feel really nice.
Yeah. Or I like the bottom of a ladle too.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of just like perfectly in there.
All right, I have got that all incorporated. I'm gonna give this a little bit of a mix now, just to make sure everything's nice and even as well. And then I'm gonna go into that butter mixture with these dry ingredients. Now, this makes a really nice cookie dough. It comes together really, really beautifully. So we're gonna go right on in. And then what you wanna do is mix that just until it is combined. Once it's nice and combined, did I get it all?
Yeah, it's mostly chocolate from here.
I was gonna say, now it's
Best seat in
cocoa
the
air.
house. Yeah.
So we're just gonna give that a mix. It is gonna fly everywhere at first, but it will come together into a nice, beautiful dough. Once it comes together into a dough, you wanna divide that up into 2 chunks. What I like to do is actually roll these into logs that are about 3 inches wide. You could also just roll this out on a board and cut it out with a classic cookie cutter, but why do that? Hear that sound?
Yeah.
That's the dough coming together.
Yeah.
Did we hear that sound change?
That's a good sound, yeah.
Again, what a thrill.
We're like, we get excited.
I know,
by,
we're like, yeah. So that looks perfect. This dough is coming together beautifully, as you can see. Looks really nice and chocolatey, super
there you
dense and
go.
delicious. So at this point, I would divide it into 2, roll it into those logs, and then you want to pop it into the fridge for about 4 hours. If you want, you could also make this a few days ahead. And also, if you want to roll this out and use cookie cutters, you could totally do that as well. Just you don't need to do it into a log at this point. So what I like to do, though, to avoid that cookie cutter portion, is roll it into a log, open it up. It's nice and firm, and it kind of looks like a can, which is a delight. But we are going to slice these cookies. So get your sharpest knife, and just give it a bit of a slice. You want them nice and thin, not too thick, and you're just gonna go right down, and you get some perfect cookies.
I think this is the superior method than rolling it.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and you don't overwork your
You
dough.
don't
either.
overwork it. You get every ounce of that dough looking beautiful and tasty.
Gorgeous.
But the best thing too about this, say you're having like a solo Palentine, maybe you're just having like a me time Palentine day. You can bake off like 1 cookie if you
love
want to.
that.
I don't know why you would ever want to do that, but you could. But what I want to do to give these a little bit of a like a window kind of Linzer cookie vibe is I do have a little heart-shaped cookie. And we're just gonna punch out the center. You can bake off that middle little bit for a little kind of treat of a cookie.
Yes, please.
But just pop those right on to a prepared sheet pan. I'm gonna bake these off in a 350-degree oven for just 10 to 12 minutes. These bake up really nice and quickly. Now, since they are a cocoa-based cookie, though, you don't have the normal hallmarks of when they are done. They don't do the golden brown around the edges. They will look a little bit matte on top. That is exactly what you're looking for. Once it gets there, you're gonna end up with something that looks like this. They do not spread too much, but boy, oh geez, do they look adorable.
Come on.
So cute. I'm feeling very excited. Now, to put these little cookies together, all I wanna do is I like to give this a little bit of a flip. So I've got kind of the bottom side up. And then over here, I've got a piping bag. You don't have to use a piping bag. You can just use like the back of a spoon, an offset spatula. This is just a little cream cheese kind of buttercream I made. Just a quarter cup of cream cheese, quarter cup of butter, about 1 3/4 cup of icing sugar, bit of vanilla, bit of salt, because we're salty ladies.
Yes.
Yes, we know what we like. Yes,
sweet.
right? Get out of here. Get out of here, just sugar. We want some salt. Now, what I like to do is almost do a little bit of a kind of, almost like a wall around the outside. You can spread it all the way across if you'd like to, but because these are chocolate cheesecake cherry sandwich cookies, we've got the chocolate, we've got the cheesecake.
Yeah.
I also have some cherry pie filling here. Now, you could also make your own. You could use cherry jam, but I like the thickness of this. So just go right into the center with that beautiful little bit of cherry. Grab one of those cookies with the heart and just give it a little smush. I mean, come on. Look at how cute that is. All right. I gotta share these. I mean, take a look at how cute they look. Put a little platter together. If you want, you can add some little icing sugar if you're feeling it.
there
But
you
I'm gonna go right on over
Right
here
there.
to my
Vijaya
house.
is first.
Vijaya needs a bite, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Shall we go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Be still my heart.
Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.